Before I start, if you haven't yet, hit subscribe to my channel. It really helps me share more stories like this. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments as we go through this one. It started with a small, almost imperceptible shift. A text that I didn't see. A call she didn't return. At first, I blamed myself. Maybe I was too busy at work. Maybe I was imagining things. But deep down, something in my chest tightened every time she laughed at her phone or looked at me with that strange, distracted smile. We were at a friend's dinner party that Friday. The room was filled with chatter, clinking glasses, and the faint scent of roasted garlic. I had noticed her checking her phone under the table more than usual, and I chalked it up to social anxiety. But then I saw it. The way she leaned into him, the new guy at the table, her laugh louder than it needed to be, her eyes shining in a way I hadn't seen in years. At first, I convinced myself I was imagining it. Maybe he's funny, I told myself. Maybe she's just enjoying a joke. But then I felt the warmth of his hand brush hers, an innocent touch, she'd say later. But my gut told me otherwise. I kept asking myself, am I overreacting? Am I being paranoid? But then came the text I couldn't ignore. One slipped through when she left her phone on the counter. I didn't plan to read it, I swear. But curiosity, or maybe fear, got the better of me. I can't wait to see you later, winking face. No name, no context. My heart pounded, my hands shook. I tried to breathe it off. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it wasn't what I thought. But the unease didn't leave. It grew like a shadow across everything I thought I knew. The party grew louder, and I noticed the way she smiled at him again. Not just a friendly smile, but a lingering, intimate smile that turned my stomach into knots. She brushed her hair behind her ear, leaned closer to him while I watched, frozen, unable to speak. Every laugh, every glance, felt like a knife twisting in my chest. I remember the moment clearly. He leaned in, whispered something in her ear, and she laughed like no one else existed. I could feel my entire body trembling. Part disbelief, part rage, part heartbreak. Around us, everyone continued to chat, unaware. But in that moment, it felt like the world had narrowed down to just the three of us. Her, him, and me, suffocating in silence. I tried to reason with myself later. Maybe it was just harmless flirting. Maybe I was reading too much into it. But that night, I went through the small, quiet evidence she left behind. Hidden calls, deleted messages, and late nights at work that didn't add up. Each detail piled on top of the last, until there was no room for doubt. I remembered the little things, too. How she used to kiss me on the cheek instead of the lips. How she seemed distracted when we talked. How she avoided eye contact at home. Memories that once felt warm now stung. Each smile and gesture reinterpreted as a lie. Eventually, I confronted her. Not at the party, not in front of anyone, but quietly at home. My hands were shaking. My voice was low, barely more than a whisper. Are you seeing someone else? Her face went pale. Her eyes darted away. And then the truth came out, not with a dramatic confession, but with a small, bitter admission. She claimed she didn't mean for it to happen, that it was just a connection, that I hadn't been paying enough attention. Her words felt like ice on my chest. I remember sitting there, feeling a strange mix of relief and devastation. Relief because I finally knew. Devastation because the person I loved, who I trusted with every corner of my heart, had been betraying me. We talked, or at least tried to, over the next few days. She cried. I cried, but the cracks in our marriage had become chasms. And through all of it, I realized something important. My love for her didn't vanish overnight, but neither could I ignore my own worth. In the end, I made a choice. I chose myself. Not vengeance, not humiliation, just dignity and the slow reclaiming of my own life. We parted quietly, painfully, without shouting or spectacle, but with final understanding. Trust, once broken, cannot be fully repaired. Now, months later, I think back to that night at the party. The laughter, the whispers, the way the world kept spinning while mine stopped. I rebuilt my life slowly, learning that heartbreak doesn't have to define you, that sometimes the hardest lesson is realizing that loving someone doesn't mean you have to stay with them, especially when they've stopped loving you in the way that matters. So, if you're listening to this, take it from me. Notice the small signs, trust your gut, and never compromise your self-respect. The people who truly deserve your love will show it, without games, without secrets, without betrayal. If this story hit you hard, please hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever felt that gut-wrenching betrayal? I'd love to hear your story.